Ladies and gents, from Sutton Instruments, it is the BOOSTOPIA. This is a super cool sounding boost pedal. You heard me use it on all the guitar parts on the track at the beginning of the video. Right out of the gate, before the song even started, you heard me play with a very flubby sort of just lying there, wet blanket kind of amp sound. And when I kicked on the pedal, everything came into focus and I had a killer rock tone. And that is the sound I used for the first guitar part in the song at the beginning of the video. That was the BOOSTOPIA through my old Marshall JMP 50 amplifier. I was running into the normal channel on the JMP, and I was using what's called the high boost on the BOOSTOPIA. So let's get into that a little bit. High boost is a treble and upper mid boost. It's very aggressive, lops off lots of low end, and just accentuates the upper frequencies of your guitar, kind of a la Rangemaster or something like that. And running into a dark, woolly amplifier is the ticket to straight up aggressive, cool rock tone. I love that sound I was able to get. Obviously was able to transform the sound of the amplifier into something super cool. And that brought me back to the days of, the great guitar players that would come up with unique original tones by combining different pieces of gear together to get something that not any one piece of gear could do on its own. I'm starting to feel like I sound like a broken record about this sometimes, but folks like Brian May, Richie Blackmore, Tony Iommi, Judas Priest, they used booster pedals or booster devices in front of amplifiers in really cool ways to get a combination of the sounds of both the pedal and the amplifier to end up with their unique signature sounds. Well, something like the high boost out of this pedal into, I don't know, like a really woolly sounding solid state amp, or even into a bass amp, something like an old Ampeg V4, or maybe an orange that's just super fat sounding. The possibilities are out there just waiting for you to find your signature sound with something like this running into an interesting sounding amplifier of choice that might not sound very good on its own. So let's talk about the other modes now. You've got the standard mode and the low mode as well. Standard mode, you might think, oh, probably a clean boost, kind of like a micro amp, and that's what I thought during the recording of this video because I hadn't read the manual yet. That's how I am sometimes. I just get into the gear without reading the manual. As I was playing with it though, and every time I would put the pedal in the standard mode, even in standard mode, I thought, there's something going on with the character of this pedal. It's not just a straight up like microamp style clean boost. It's not just straight gain going into the amp or anything like that. There's a bit of a tonal character going on. And sure enough, as soon as I read the manual, I discovered that standard mode is the most transparent setting. When engaged, the low end will tighten. Something's going on with the tone. And a smooth bump will be applied to the mid-range. So indeed, even standard mode has some character to it, and it's kind of fine-tuned to help enhance the sound of your guitar, keep things tight, keep the mid-range focused, while adding more gain, sustain, and crunch, and overdrive in the first, stage of your amplifier. So I use standard mode with my, top hat, King Royale back there on the top boost channel, and I had the top boost channel set on about 3.5, so think Vox AC30 on like 3.5 or 4, and it's grinding up a little bit. Now you want to boost it, and that's what I use the standard mode for, just to drive the front of the amp harder, get more gain, get more sustain, more crunch. But because the standard mode lops off a little bit of low end and also gives you a bit of mid-range bump, it still kept things focused and sound really cool in front of that AC30 style amp. Now there's also a low boost setting on this pedal. That would be something that I probably wouldn't use that much, but if you want to push a ton of lows into the front end of your amplifier, maybe you've got a really thin sounding guitar, a really thin sounding amplifier. I don't know, like you want to play your lipstick tube Dan Electro pickup in the bridge position into a thin sounding amplifier. And it's unbearably thin, and you also want to get some more distortion. Well, that would be the use for the low mode on this. I played my Strat into the top boost channel of the King Royale for the first little lead guitar part in the song, and I used the low boost, and sure enough, it fattened up the tone of the bridge pickup of the guitar enough to get a cool, driven sound into the front of that not very bassy amplifier. Okay, and then last but not least, when I played the main solo on my Sir Signature guitar, I used my Sir Signature amplifier as well, the PT15 back there. I had it on channel 3, and I had it set for kind of a JCM 800 style medium kind of crunch. I thought, well, let's see what works better, the high boost mode or the standard mode. And the standard mode actually worked great because once again, it actually fine tunes the tone a little bit going in. It's not just pushing clean gain. Most clean boosts maybe running into an already crunchy sound might kind of be fairly fat in the low end, like maybe too much. And they won't cut enough for a lead sound. But because you're getting a slightly enhanced mid-range in the standard mode, as well as a little bit of low cut, it worked just great running into the gain channel of the PT-15. So now I'm going to play a little bit more through the pedal. You're going to hear me use the different guitars and detail how I got the different sounds through the different amps, try the different settings on the pedal, all that good stuff. It's the BOOSTOPIA from Sutton. Here we go. So for the first part in that track at the beginning of the video, I'm using the high setting. I had my old Marshall plugged in on the normal channel, which is really dark sounding and bloated on its own. Sounds like this. It's pretty much unusable. Doesn't sound great. But turning on the pedal, it transforms the tone. Great sound. So let me bring the boost level up and down. Just turns it into a really usable, cool rock guitar sound. This setting, the high setting in particular, great for transforming anything dark or woolly. I mean, even if you're playing through a bass amp, if you're like, oh damn, I'm stuck with the bass amp on this gig because that's all the house has or something, you're gonna be able to get a cool, usable guitar tone out of it. Like old school Rangemaster style, which was almost like a Band-Aid, the way that guys used them at Judas Priest or Tony Iommi, Brian May, to go into the normal channel or the very dark kind of channel of an amplifier, but then boost it up with nothing but high end and high mids and stuff, and it just gets this really cool, clear combination tone. It's almost like a Band-Aid, but what a great sound and trick it is. It's so cool. So like the neck pickup on the Les Paul. Makes it sound almost like a big giant Strat or something on this setting. It's really cool. Without the pedal, unusable, Mud City, right? With the pedal, the thing about it is, you might say to yourself, well, yeah, but why don't you just set your amp to sound better? Well, some amps just don't. The other thing is, once again, it's the combination of the pedal and the really bloated dark amp tone that makes the sound. If you've got a good modern gain channel on an amp, that's going to sound cool, but it's not going to be the same sound as this, which is why guys like Judas Priest and Tony Iommi and stuff stuck with it, because it was like the combination of the two things that made a special, unique sound. Think normal channel on an AC30, channel 2 on a 4-hole Marshall, channel 2 on a Laney, maybe an orange amp that's got a ton of low end and like lots of low grind, and it's almost too fat when it gets turned up and gets gainy. Alrighty, so I just put the BOOSTOPIA into the standard mode, and for the standard mode, I thought, once again, this has got to be a balance of pedal and amp. So I thought, well, I'll go with the kind of skinny AC30 top boost channel to demonstrate this. So I've got my my top hat King Royale back here, and I've got it on about 11 o'clock on the volume, with the treble up a bit past noon, the bass down around 11 o'clock, something like that. And this is the tone. Just good, straight up AC30 chimey edge of breakup. It's getting some distortion going. But what happens if you want to boost that and get a chunkier sound? Well, this is what the standard mode is just great for on this pedal. So I've got it up around 1 o'clock on the boost, and let's turn it on. So let's move the gain control around a little bit now. It's on 1 o'clock to start. So much ghosting on my top hat amp. You can hear the other notes come in. You know, it sounds like I'm playing 2 notes at once, but I'm not. I just came up with that. That's pretty cool. Maybe I'll use that for something else. So the low boost is probably the one I would use the least. I've got lots of great tones out of the clean and out of the high boost. It was a little puzzling for me at first, like what do I use the low boost for? And I thought, maybe if I've got the Strat bridge pickup and I'm going into kind of a thinner amp like my Top Hat AC30, you know, it's not the bassiest sounding amp, and I wanted to boost it up a bit and use the bridge pickup tone, maybe the low boost would be helpful, and sure enough, it's pretty cool. So without the pedal on, it's like that skinny Strat bridge pickup sound, not too powerful. Using the low boost up around 230. You know, it's pretty vintagey sound I got going right now, but it does work to boost the pickup, keep the notes relatively clear and stuff, but also fatten up at the same time. So it's pretty cool for a Strat bridge pickup. If I show you what the standard mode sounds like. Pretty cool sound, actually. I've got Echoplex pedal on right now too. Here's with the low boost. Almost sounds like I'm using the neck pickup on the guitar. To play the solo on the track at the beginning of the video, I am boosting the channel 3 or the lead channel on my PT15 amp down there. And I've got the amp set up with the gain on about 6. It's kind of JCM 800-ish right now. And then turning on the boost on the standard boost setting with it on about 2 o'clock just gives it a nice even kick. Thanks for watching my video on the Boostopia from Sutton Instruments. The great guitar players back in the day used to take amplifiers that were maybe deficient in one way or another, and they would boost with a pedal like this and end up with a combined tone that you wouldn't be able to get out of any one piece of gear. Ritchie Blackmore, Tony Iommi, Judas Priest, and folks like Jack White all used pedals to push amplifiers that weren't capable of getting the sound that they wanted on their own with that amplifier. So who knows, one of you out there might get this Boostopia pedal and develop a signature sound all your own by plugging it into some kind of crazy amplifier. Or run it into one of the usual suspects and get a great sound. It is the Boostopia from Sutton Instruments. You can check it out further, that link down there in the video description below. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Pete Thorne. Take care. Over and out.